hello, we're going to continue our look at the resurrection accounts. And this is day 2, Tuesday morning. We're going to think about the transformation of all those who met the risen Lord Jesus. I'm going to continue today to read from John chapter 20. I'm going to read verses 11 through to 18. John 20, 11 to 18. Now Mary stood outside the tomb crying. As she wept, she bent over to look into the tomb and saw 2 angels in white seated where Jesus' body had been, one at the head and the other at the foot. They asked her, "Woman, why are you crying?" "They've taken my Lord away," she said, "and I don't know where they've put him." At this she turned around and she saw Jesus standing there. But she did not realize that it was Jesus. He asked her, "Woman, why are you crying? Who is it that you're looking for?" Thinking he was the gardener, she said, "Sir, if you had carried him away, tell me where you've put him. I will go and get him." Jesus said to her, "Mary." And she turned towards him, cried out in Aramaic, "Rabboni," which means teacher. Jesus said, "Do not hold on to me, for I've not yet ascended to the Father. Go instead to my brothers and tell them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and to your God." Mary Magdalene went to the disciples with the news, "I have seen the Lord." And she told them he had said these things to her. Sharing a home with toddlers means that every day there's tears. And when you're 3, there are daily events that seem cataclysmic. Whether it's a grazed knee, or a lost toy, or even the wrong coloured bowl for breakfast. These events can all feel like the end of the world. I'm looking forward to the time when we can get through a day without tears or meltdowns. But for adults, grief and tears and meltdowns hopefully are much rarer. And of course they happen normally because of something much more important or significant happening in their lives. I wonder when the last time was that you cried. The last time that you were overwhelmed with grief and sadness. Perhaps it was the loss of a loved one. Perhaps it was the breakdown of a relationship. Perhaps the loss of a job, or the failure of a dream. Perhaps watching a loved one suffer with illness. I'm sure many of our NHS staff and our care home staff in our country at this time are feeling overwhelmed with grief and sadness as they serve and care at the bedside of many ill and dying people. Grief and sadness are parts of being human. And as we considered yesterday, one day there will be no more tears. But for now, we live with that tension. Our reading today from John's Gospel starts with Mary Magdalene in tears. I'm sure she has been crying constantly for days. She has witnessed just the greatest sadness imaginable in the previous week. She's witnessed her Lord arrested and beaten and brutally killed. And then she spent a whole day in grief waiting just to be able to come and care for his body. And there in the darkness of that early morning, she arrives at the tomb. She's expecting to find Jesus' body. She knows that's where his body's been laid, but she discovers it's empty. It's kind of the last straw for her. "They've taken away my Lord," she says. She couldn't even care for Jesus in death. She's overwhelmed with grief and sadness. And then we have the most amazing resurrection encounter. Mary's grief is transformed to joy when she meets the risen Lord Jesus. When I read this account, I can hear Jesus' voice full of tenderness. The hairs on the back of my neck kind of want to stand out as he calls Mary by name. Mary. Her eyes are open. She recognizes that voice and she reaches out for her Lord. Tears of sadness are transformed to tears of joy and wonder. I wonder if we pause for a moment. I wonder if we imagine ourselves in the garden where the tomb was. And there before us is the tomb, a place of darkness and of death. What sadness or grief has there been in your life, or is there at the moment? It might be something that you've put aside or suppressed, but it's still there, deep inside of you. Well, this morning, maybe Jesus wants to call your name gently and lovingly and firmly. And he invites us to turn from the tomb, stop looking in the dead, an empty and dark place, and to look at him and discover resurrection joy, being filled with wonder and joy. Earlier in the Gospel of John, Jesus gave these words to his followers before all of these events unfolded. He said, "Now is your time of grief, but I will see you again, and you will rejoice, and no one will take away your joy." What a promise for us. No one, no situation, no event can take away the joy that is promised to us who follow in trust in Jesus who was resurrected. May we know the joy of the risen Christ, who calls us tenderly and lovingly by name. Amen.
Great is the Lord, and great is his love. Great is his faithfulness and mercy to us. Lifting our voices, we sing to the one whose love lasts forever and whose grace will always overcome. Praise to the Lord, whose love knows no end. God our Redeemer, healer and friend. Hope to the hopeless, loving and good, changing our sorrows into joy. His promises are true. Your love reaches up to the heavens. Your grace and your truth are forever. Your justice is strong and your faithfulness endures. Your love reaches up to the heavens. Praise to the Lord, the fountain of life, the bringer of blessing, a giver of light. Love like no other is ours to receive. God has revealed himself to us, and love is what we see. Your love reaches up to the heavens. Your grace and your truth are forever. Your justice is strong and your faithfulness endures. Your love reaches up to the heavens. God, unchanging, love never failing. God, unchanging, love never failing. God, God, unchanging, love never fading. Your love reaches up to the heavens. Your grace and your truth are forever. Your justice is strong and your faithfulness endures. Your love reaches up to the heavens. Oh, your love reaches up to the heavens. Your grace and your truth are forever. Your justice is strong and your faithfulness endures. Your